Hello, my name is Ilona, and in this video I want to take a look at France, the energy of France. Macron won his second term, which is very interesting. I'm sure he was helped along the way. Interesting was he got 58% of the votes and Le Pen got 41%, which is exactly a difference of 17%. Well, 17 is a very important number, especially with the 17th letter of the alphabet. So this is very interesting, and to me it feels like that we need to keep him in that spot. It's still necessary. I do have a feeling that we are in the end phase of what's going on. I don't want to call it a movie because, like I've mentioned before, there are people in horrific situations, and my heart goes out to them. So let's see what the energy is right now. I do believe that a lot of people are very, very angry in France that Macron is remaining in his spot. So let's see what the cards will have to say. We have the Nine of Pentacles, the card above. We have the King of Cups, the central card. We have the Five of Pentacles in the past. We have the Two of Swords underneath the King of Cups. And we have the Eight of Pentacles for the near future, the future of France. And the Two of Wands. Well, this is interesting. This is really about connecting with emotions, about dealing with feelings in a very mature way. And I do believe that that's kind of the issue with France. I've mentioned this before. The people there are very quickly to act very angry, throw their frustrations out there. They are protesting, they're doing everything they can. But it's not really connecting in themselves. It's not changing things in themselves. And they really need to change the energy. That's the most important thing. I think they are changing. They're getting more independent. This is a card of independence. This is a card of learning how to deal with your emotions and your feelings in a mature way. And this is still an issue, is that a lot of people in France are not connected with their intuition. They kind of don't see what this is really about. They just throw their frustrations out there, or they maybe are complying. Although a lot of people in France, like I've seen at least a lot of videos, they really protest a lot. Just one thing has to happen and they're immediately standing up for themselves. But to be honest, and I felt this before, it's more of an aggressiveness. It's from negative energy. It's not from their own strength, but more reacting to what is going on. And to be very honest, the dark energies enjoy that. That's what they're doing. They hoping to provoke people, to keep them in a lower frequency. So this is about connecting with their emotions, connecting with their intuition. So I do think a lot of people are going to be very angry about this, and hopefully that will wake them up, starting to realize how they can do this in a different way. But it takes a lot of work. That's what this is about. It's about a lot of work for the future, the near future of France. And a lot of people still really don't know which way they want to go. There's still a bit of apathy. How do you say that? A little bit like, really, what are we going to do about this? So this is about working through the issues that a lot of people still have for the energy of France. I do think it's changing. We have the King of Cups. So I do believe that this is giving them a different perspective. This is still about waking up, but really about connecting with their intuition, knowing what is right and what fits them, what's, how do you say this? Being independent of what's going on outside of themselves. This is about connecting with their own self, with God, with connecting with their intuition. So there's a lot of work still needs to be done, but I do believe that this will break out of this. This is mostly a standstill. The Two of Wands is usually a standstill. Not much is happening. People aren't making real decisions or staying in the same space they've been before. So this is about waking up people, and work needs to be done. This is creating a situation where they can step out of this energy. So that's interesting. I also want to take a look at the food shortages. In America, a lot of food plants are, if I'm not mistaken, burning down. Food processing plants and warehouses I'd like to take a look what's going on there. Is that really the case, or is it being exaggerated? What's going on there? So let's see what the energies have to say about that. Or the cards have to say about the energies. Let's see, the Three of Cups. That's an interesting card. We have the Tower. That's the central card. We have the Five of Cups in the past. We have the Page of Wands underneath the Tower. And we have the Three of Wands in the future. I'm just going to get an extra card, Judgment. That is interesting. Things are falling apart and it's necessary. I do believe that this is purposely done. Not necessarily to create like shortages, but to get rid of elements in the food supply, in the food processing that need to be that they really want to get rid of, that are not good for humanity, they are not good for us. So this is about cleansing, and especially with the Three of Cups, I think a lot of things may be exaggerated, maybe a little bit blown out of proportion to wake up people, because this is also about waking up people, and especially with this energy, which is to me the Whiteheads. They are really, I think they are behind this. So in a way, they're trying to warn people about, waking them up and hoping to, especially in America, to get this all, how do you say this? You see Mr. B, he's awful, look at him, look at how he's handling things. So in a way, they're using it. They're using to not only get rid of all the food and the processing and certain methods of processing, but they also try to use it to undermine Mr. B and his policies and what's going on, to wake up people like, hey, this is happening. We might have food shortages. Watch out. So it's kind of a wake-up call. Also that people need to watch what they're eating. That's very important as well. But they're trying to clean up things, and especially with the Three of Cups, I don't get a very bad feeling along with it. I truly believe that it's not as bad as it looks. And I also have a feeling that they really are cleaning up things that need to be cleaned up. A lot of things are going to come out about the food, about food processing, what they've used in food. And I think it's really, truly going to shock people. But they need to get rid of, they need to make sure. I also believe warehouses are burning, and I think it has to do with cleaning up things. So there are more, multiple things why it's happening. So first of all, it's to clean up things. It's also to wake up people, warning people, and also to watch what they're eating, what the food is, and hopefully use it against Mr. B and what's going on there, just to show them in this awful light, like really, you really want to continue with these policies. So a lot is going on there. And I can see here from the future, we just have to, especially in America with the food processing plants, just watch and see. To be very honest, these are two very positive cards. So I don't think it's going to be as awful as they wanted to make it look, like this going to be awful. I think a lot of it is optics. That's the feeling I'm getting. So I do believe there is enough food, but it may look like certain areas there will not be enough food. But it's more of watch and see what comes along. So it's more for people to just see and also change things and see the food that they're eating, and maybe find other methods of buying your food, maybe more local. See if you can get the food directly from the farmers, also in America. I also advise this in the Netherlands and just everywhere. If it's possible for you to buy directly from the farmers, do that, because it's very important to understand where your food comes from, especially the food in supermarkets. Most of it is really just a chemical mess, to be very honest. And judgment is really about a completely new way of eating, a completely new way of looking at food. And I think that's necessary as well. Every system that doesn't suit us anymore, that's really against humanity, has to fall. It really has to fall. And food is a very important part in that. It has to fall, it has to change. We really have to look at our food in a very different way. So I also want to take a look at the global energy. just globally what the energy is. Let's see. We have the 6 of Wands, that's interesting. We have the 4 of Cups, that's the central card. We have the 8 of Cups in the past. We have the Page of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Pentacles for the near future, the future, and the King of Swords. So this is very interesting because right now this is kind of the feeling globally that people are a little bit like, well, what's going on? What's happening? And it kind of, people are, how do you say that, frustrated with what's going on. I can really feel that within the Truth community as well. A lot of people are tired, they're exhausted, they're like, well, when is this cup finally going to be given to us? And there are already things happening. So much is happening. I can just feel it in the energy. The energy is changing, and that's so important to get yourself out of this feeling of rejection of things, of really, in a way, we are our own worst enemy. We really need to open ourselves up. This is an opportunity to open ourselves up and to really, as a humanity, overcome this feeling of resentment, this feeling of resistance, this feeling of anger, negative emotions. But that's what the 4 of Cups is about. That we break through that we really need to deal with it and open ourselves up so we can have a victory, we can really overcome. And especially, look at this, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is like a new beginning coming to us. Just globally, there will be a completely new beginning, and it's part of the plan. I do believe it's part of the Whitehead's plan that's been calculated, that's really been I said they really thought about that, or they were very, very thorough. So this plan is, you know, it's already happening around us. I can understand that there are a lot of people, you know, saying like, well, not that much is happening. We're still in the same situations. We're not. I don't feel that way at all. We're really watching the collapse of all these narratives and all these plans the dark energies have. It's all collapsing. It's now up to us to deal with our own energy, with what's going on there. That's our responsibility. We really need to step into our power and starting manifesting what we want. That's the victory we'll have. And by doing that, we can create something completely new. We start creating that new world. But that's just so important. And it's in a way also just to stand back, because that's what the King of Swords is about as well. Just look at things objectively and see what resonates with you or not. It's very important, because sometimes people like, well, what resonates means what feels good to you. But you have to understand, when I'm talking about resonating, I mean intuitively. So that's a very, very deep feeling. Of course, you have your emotions, and it's important not to be, how to say, dragged away with your emotions, because sometimes it's almost difficult to explain, but you have this feeling right away. Now someone's talking to you and you just feel like, nah, something's off. But then your emotions like, well, this is a nice person, you know, I'm all right, this is a great opportunity. Your intellect comes in as well, and then you can pretty much, that's the problem with a lot of intellect, of course, by using that or just looking at it from a rational point of view. You can talk a lot of things that are really not right. You know, you can make them right. So you have to be careful with that. And emotional, if you're too emotional, if you're not in touch with your emotions, you can kind of, how do you say it, cover things up with a lovely blanket of love, like, oh, everything's going to be fine, and you kind of tuck away that feeling of, hey, something's not right. And that is your deep intuition. That is your connection with your soul, with God. So always listen to that, even if it doesn't make sense at all, even if emotionally you'll have to say no to someone and you don't want to. And even if you rationally can't come up with any arguments not to do it, still listen to that inner voice, that inner feeling. So this is when I talk about resonating, what resonates with you, it's that deep inner feeling. You need to balance out your intellect. It's very important to use, of course, your brains, common sense, but also use your emotions, your feelings, get in touch with it. But the most important thing is to, if you feel very deeply like this is not right, listen to it. So important to listen to that. And it's like I said, you can get confused with your emotions and you can get confused intellectually, because people can come up with a lot of arguments and a lot of facts and a lot of things coming at you. Stick with what you feel deep inside, what resonates with you. I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!